big sister. Right, so we'll introduce you. So this one, excuse me, actually tell a lie, it's Ha Ha. And then this young lady, who's my favourite, but don't tell the kids, is Mum. And her name's Flo, and she's 8 years old. She doesn't actually like the scraps too much, so there's a nice piece of trout for you, love. Do you want that instead? Hey? Obviously not hungry at all today, which is great because, as I say, it just goes to show with the warmer weather, they're eating less and need less energy. So we've got Minnie, Ha Ha, they're the two youngsters from about a year ago. This is their older sister Mo, who's now 4 years old. And then, as I say, one of the youngsters down there. And obviously in the wild, they probably don't get hand-fed, but we don't eat it all the time. But just at the moment, I'm just building up a repartee, a bit of getting them used to me, particularly the two youngsters. And you might notice they're really flow mode, don't give them monkeys about me. They've been around people, they're sure of themselves, they know I'm not really that much of a threat. But little Minnie and Ha Ha, I say just over a year old, and in fact a fortnight ago it was their birthday. They did have a birthday party, and in the true sense of the word they had a fish cake to celebrate. But they're keeping on that side of me, so if there is any noise, any sudden movement, they can get away to safety. Quite rightly, in the water, they are the sort of top dog. They're the ones that can get out of any mischief. What we'll do is let them have another piece each, and then we'll leave them to it. There you go. Righto. Now, it would be unusual for the older daughter Mo, who's now 4 years old, to be still with mother with the other two cubs turning up. But the thing is that we actually had planned to open the exhibit with just Flo and Mo. They were born over at a zoo on the east of the country that was closing down. You like that? That's why a spoiler, we give her the fish chunk. They were born over there. The zoo was closing down, so we decided to sort of rehome them. And we had the added bonus that Flo, the mum, actually came to us pregnant, so we got the cubs. Right, are you still struggling with that fishtail, young lady? She'll probably get bored with it in a second. but obviously doing well. So what we'll do is I'll just throw a bit of food around and then leave them to it. Because it's always a top 10 zookeeper tip, is leave the pen before they finish chewing, otherwise they might have a nibble on you. And I know from experience that I said they don't look too hungry today, so I've got a bit of sushi left if anybody's feeling techie. Actually, technically it's sashimi, and it is our main interest still, it's our main importance, it's where we do our main work, carrying on Sir Peter Scott's lifetime's work. The thing is, though, that it's not just about the birds now, it's also about the habitat, the environment, the ecosystems, and mammals do play an important part of the ecosystem. Something like the shrews, the voles, the mice, they're food for some of the birds. And then you go to the other end of the spectrum, where you've got the otters, which are the top predators, the alpha carnivores, what they call the apex species. And it means if there's any problems down at the bottom of the food chain, it shows first at the top. And otters all over the world are very good indicators on the health of the watercourses. If the otters are there, it shows there's fresh water and enough food for them. And as I say, they are, as I say, the top predators. They're having a nice selection of best Gloucestershire or Cotswold trout at the moment. We have a very nice deal with Byberry Trout Farm, and we still pay for it, we just don't pay as much as Waitrose, so we're quite pleased. The crabs and the lobsters, the shellfish down on the seaside, they eat the frogs and the newts. They sometimes have a nibble on the toads, but they don't taste very nice, so they tend to leave them alone. They'd also eat the other mammals. They'd also, probably most importantly for us, also eat the ducks and ducklings. Big pile of pink feathers next door, and the otters will be licking their lips in the flamingo house. But as I say, so far we've got away with it, so we'll carry on. Now the otters here, as I say, are to show you the representation of otters, how wonderful they are. They're very charismatic animals, very curious animals. There's a moorhen there with a death wish. The thing is that in Britain we have the Eurasian river otter, but I'll let you into a little secret, these aren't Eurasian river otters. They're North Americans, so slightly bigger, slightly louder. I'm not making any comment on that. And the other big thing about them is they have a very black nose at the front. Now, as I say, we do have Eurasian otters in Britain, Eurasian river otters, and they are in fact around Slimbridge. They've been seen up on the canal. Dave and a couple of Saturdays ago, there was actually one playing outside the kingfisher hide for about 20 minutes. So they are around. Why has Slimbridge gone for the Americans? Well, as I say, it was a simple fact that Flo and Mo were being made homeless. They weren't quite out on the streets, but no one else wanted them. We were building a nice otter enclosure, and as I say, we had the added bonus of the cubs as well. So the Eurasian river otter, it's great to say that it is on the problems in the food chain, shows first at the top. And yes, for centuries they were hunted for the fur. It's very soft, it's very warm, it's very waterproof. I personally think it looks better on an otter than anything else. However, that had an effect to them. They're also probably better at catching fish than we were, so we were jealous about that. There was the habitat destruction. We wanted to change the rivers and things, and so all that affected the otters, and they sort of kept out of the way. You couldn't really blame them. You know, if someone's trying to kill me, I avoid them. But they said they were sort of around, but as I say, very shy, very secretive. But what had her cubs in the back of a derelict Ford Escort. As I pointed out, there's been lots of life started in backs of Ford Escorts, but we're not going into that details. Right, so we've got a nice, as I say, family firm for you. Some people sort of say, oh, well, where's those? Sadly, in this enlightened times, they are still hunted for their fur. And about 20,000 every year are harvested, and so it's nice to know we've got some safe over in Gloucestershire, just in case if there's any plans for any reintroduction programmes. I'm sure we'd offer the girls here to be involved with that. In fact, some friends of mine in an American zoo have asked about swapping bloodlines, and so he's all round. No, he's shaking his head at that one. No questions, folks? Anything I've missed?
How long did they
live? How long did they live? With us, the North Americans could live to Medicare. They get twilight retirement homes when they're getting on a bit, and we can look after them a bit better. It's a hard life out there. It's a, dog eat dog world out there. But as I say, we've got a good few years yet. The Eurasian otter in captivity lives again to be about 12, 15 years old, and again out in the wild is about half of that.